Good morning, everyone. I told you I'll come on when there's breaking news, but I didn't want to come on too early. It happened early this morning. I was going to wait till about 10 to come on. So I don't know how everybody knew about it. Tim got right up this time. Ann's on the phone, Tim. Trying to reach her. Lucy and Paul. Yep, told you I'll come on. I just didn't want to go wake up too early. I got breakfast and everything, take care of Chico and Juan. Now, explain all this now, everybody. What the heck is going on? He started was that a war or is that just to get him captured? I don't know. Then I was hearing something about, remember a year ago, they were saying about the calendars. April is actually the first month of the year. Remember that? I wonder if we're going to go through all that again. I can't believe they're doing this. You know, they say the med beds are here and now they're saying April, the med beds or something. That's what I was hearing. They're just stretching it out. They're just going on, moving the months. Chico. Chico. Oh. Somebody's in the hallway. Chico. Settle down. Come here, lay down. So while we're waiting for everybody, we'll turn on JLR because he's been live for over 3 hours. Well, wait, let's hear this first.
Fought hard for him.
It is 8 a.m. on the East Coast, and if you are just waking up this morning, we are following breaking news. President Trump announcing the capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro overnight in a large-scale U.S. military operation.
Attorney General Pam Bondi confirming Maduro and his wife have been indicted in New York on drug and weapons charges. The couple, quote, will soon face the full wrath of American justice.
It comes after explosions rocked the capital of Caracas and surrounding states. Early this morning, President Trump is expected to hold a news conference from Mar-a-Lago at 11 a.m.
Lucas Tomlinson joins us now from West Palm Beach, Florida, where the commander-in-chief has been spending the holidays. Hey, Lucas, what more can you tell us this morning?
Good morning, Doc. For weeks, President Trump had pledged there would be strikes ashore in Venezuela, and that's exactly what happened in the pre-dawn hours, where the National Mission Force Special Operations Forces were launched, likely from the USS Iwo Jima offshore, after the Air Department, the jets and helicopters on board had been moved to Puerto Rico. Those forces, the strike force, assaulted Maduro's compound in the pre-dawn hours after those airstrikes from U.S. military aircraft took place in Caracas around 2 in the morning, Caracas time, 1 in the morning, East Coast time. And President Trump posting to Truth Social after Maduro and his wife had left the country. I'll read it. The president posted, quote, "The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter." And we heard from Venezuela's leader just a day ago, guys, in a car, a dash cam video saying he was open to a deal with President Trump. He said he would be open to combating the drug trafficking. Recall for many days now, there have been increased sanctions on Maduro's regime. His regime had been called a cartel, had been sanctioned as a foreign terrorist organization. We'd seen dozens of strikes against drug boats in the Caribbean and in the Eastern Pacific. And then this morning at 2 in the morning, we saw this dramatic airstrikes, likely from F-22 fighter jets, stealth fighter jets. Also recall those F-35s that have been moved to Puerto Rico, likely taking part in the strikes. We saw B-1 bombers, a flight in the Caribbean just last evening. It's not clear if those also took place. We also, as you can see in the video coming up, dozens of U.S. Army helicopters, likely from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. Those are the Night Stalkers. Those are the world's most elite pilots that would have taken the strike force into Caracas to detain Nicolas Maduro. This appears from the American side to be bloodless. It appears all aircraft were able to successfully execute their mission, and all American military personnel, those elite Tier 1 forces from the Delta Force, the Ranger Regiment, and perhaps SEAL Team 6, all made it out of the country in one piece. And let's not forget, this was a showdown between President Trump and Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. And as Elliot Abrams told me a few weeks ago, there can only be one winner, and President Trump doesn't like to lose. And that's what we saw in these strikes, guys.
So obviously for the past couple of weeks, Maduro has been looking out and seeing the most advanced flotilla in world history parked outside of his country. It's probably been a little bit nerve-wracking for him. But obviously the operation, this operation was successful and is over. But I don't think that we're necessarily going to see the USS Gerald Ford pull anchor and leave the region anytime soon.
Doesn't appear that way, Charlie, although it is worth noting that Ford has been at sea for 6 months, deploying back in June. She was moved from Europe to move to the Caribbean, part of what the Trump administration...
Okay, that's that. We'll go on to another stuff here. Yeah.
His time was limited there. He probably knew he was being tracked by the United States. President Trump did not hesitate whenever he said, not only are we going to go after these narco terrorists in the water, we also saw them targeted, of course, at the ports. And then he said, we're also going in on land in Venezuela. So I think he knew his time was limited there. I think he knew he was being tracked. And obviously that came to a conclusion overnight in this incredible way. And look, I think that when we're talking about the damage that this one man has done to the people of Venezuela, to the people of the United States, I don't know that you can overstate it. You talk about the 1.3 million Americans whose lives have been lost by illicit drugs, by fentanyl pouring over our southern border. Think about with each one of those people, the expansion of the hurt that has caused.
Oop. That was just a, we'll go on to another shoot. Okay, now we'll go to JRL.
Carlos, yo voy a hacer el video allá grabándolo. Yo me traje el paral y eso para hacerlo porque me tiene. Community against.
And as
literally, these are the FTA 18s would be storming around north of Aruba for days. They'd pop up on Flight Radar 24. Now,
I went back
remember when we watched in real time about 2 weeks ago, some of those F-18 Super Hornets that were working away here, but Flight Radar 24 people online suggested it was like just a estimate trajectory track of these planes and not necessarily over, because we were like, oh my goodness, they're going over Venezuela airspace. Now, as far as Venezuela airspace, there's not one plane. This is Venezuela. I'll go around the border. Not one plane right now is in Venezuela. No commercial planes, nothing at all. See? Nothing. So that makes the situation scary here, because it's like no commercial aircraft are even going to go near this, as all eyes on Caracas here about what's going on. Venezuela rejects military aggression by the U.S. The government President Maduro said in a statement on Saturday. Don't forget about the oil being seized from some of the ships destined to go to the Middle East that the U.S. has done. President of the United States clearly said that, I don't know what they're going to put the oil in the strategic reserves. He said, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it. So it's real. It's happening. Multiple explosions heard in Caracas. It seems like it's happening in the Caracas. U.S. launches military strikes on Venezuela as Trump escalates pressure on the Maduro regime. Everybody's like, well, now Trump is known as the war president. Is this considered a war? And if it's considered a war, do you support this situation? The war on narco-terrorists. You're not messing around at all. I compiled a bunch of clips. I'm loading them up. And we'll get these clips up here shortly. And we'll see what's going on. Some airstrikes and things like that. I think the airport was getting bombed. President Trump ordered strikes on sites inside Venezuela, including military facilities, U.S. officials told CBS News, as the administration early Saturday ratcheted up its campaign against the regime of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The strikes follow months of U.S. military buildup in the region, with the USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier and numerous other warships positioned in the Caribbean. In recent weeks, the USS seized 2 oil tankers off the coast of Venezuela, launched deadly strikes on more than 30 boats the administration says were carrying drugs, and struck what President Trump called the dock, where they load the boats up with the drugs. The Trump administration has accused Maduro of drug trafficking or working with gangs designated as terrorist organizations, which Maduro denies. On Christmas Eve, Mr. Trump declined to say what his goal was, but cautioned that if Maduro plays tough, I'll be the last. It'll be the last time he'll ever be able to.
I'm going to come back and play this. Get up there, buddy.
Nicolas Maduro, the dictator of Venezuela, a communist, does not want to F around with the United States of America.
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And Nicolas Maduro's response to that was,
don't worry, be happy. La, 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 la. Don't worry.
How's that working out for him, by the way? Why don't we go ahead and check in on Venezuela and see? Because right now, Venezuela is getting lit the F up. And Nicolas Maduro has been captured. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicolas Maduro was arrested last night by American Special Forces and has been taken back to the United States of America. In what is, without question, one of the single most impressive and sophisticated military operations in the history of the world, Donald Trump confirming here the United States of America has successfully carried out the large-scale strike against Venezuela. Its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. The disrespect, the absolute rudeness of taking his wife as well. Oh. The operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump. Senator Mike Lee here saying he spoke with Secretary Rubio. Nicolas Maduro has been arrested by U.S. personnel to stand trial on criminal charges inside of the United States. In that kinetic action we saw tonight, deployed to protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant. This action likely falls within the president's inherent authority under Article 2 of the Constitution to protect personnel from imminent attack. And that protection was wildly impressive. Whoa. Check it out. Some of the footage out of Venezuela. getting completely and totally yeeted.
Mamá, que pasaron aviones y yo escuché, ay mamá,
You know
mira
what that was? This is the Hugo Chavez communist dictator memorial that they have in Caracas. They decided to lob a heater into it on their way out. The footage has been stunning coming out of Venezuela. Boom. They captured Nicolas Maduro alive. They don't want to F around with the United States. You don't want to F around the United States of America. Just for a minute. Here we go. Fortunately, here the military helicopter flying low. This is absolutely Maduro being taken out of the country. This is Delta Force taking Nicolas Maduro out of the country. Nicolas Maduro is an illegitimate head of a narco state, is a terrorist leader. I am somebody who does not advocate for more war, but it seems like actions like these are just simply preventing war. And again, Nicolas Maduro is the man who's in charge of not only the massive poisonous trafficking of narcotics into our country that has slaughtered Americans. He also emptied out all of his jails, sent his gangs to America to rape, pillage, and murder in this country. He also is in charge of election rigging technology that rigs elections at scale all around the world. Venezuela is an evil country that is under hostile dictatorship. The people of Venezuela are cheering. I know we've heard this before. The people of Venezuela are waking up, celebrating news that communist Maduro captured by U.S. forces. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicolas Maduro is an illegitimate leader. Look at Nicolas Maduro is somebody who lost an election, but used his election rigging technology in order to bring himself back into power and presumably to have power permanently. Look at this. Just freaking shock. Just shock and awe. I love zero media leaks, successful strikes, completely leveled primary airbase, bombed the corpse of Hugo Chavez for fun, which they did. Capture Nicolas Maduro like Batman or something, and not a single American live lost or even threatened, actually. Trump says Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro has been captured. He and his wife. The rudeness of taking the wife. Here we go. That's the top line here. Venezuela leader Nicolas Maduro captured and flown out of the country to stand trial in the United States of America. Trump released a statement saying that the U.S. has successfully carried out a military strike. Several explosions rocked the capital of Caracas on Saturday. United States of America successfully carried out the large-scale strike. Senator Mike Lee confirmed it. Trump announced that he would hold a press conference. Venezuela's government slammed the United States for attacking civilian and military installations in multiple states. Okay. Putin also didn't like it. Here's sort of the breakdown of the force command chart showing the massive military buildup in the Caribbean. You can see here we have deployed quite a few assets, and here you can see the some of these helicopters, some of these birds were probably used last night in the operation. But yeah, just a freaking armada, frankly. Trump sends an armada in order to shut you down. You sent all of your gangbangers and drug dealers into our country. You flooded our border with criminal aliens. And now you find out, right? The effing around is here and the finding out is here. Even harder. And this is also a message, obviously, to China. China had just sent emissaries to Venezuela. Venezuela is one of the last blocks of sort of communist countries. South America is going libertarian and liberty. The vast majority of South American countries, not the vast majority, but the majority of South American countries now have freedom and liberty, anti-communist, anti-socialist candidates that are running them. Venezuela, Colombia, and Brazil, which also had a fake election, are kind of the holdouts there. This is President Trump exerting control in our hemisphere. This is what dominant powers do. And I don't want a terrorist narco state off the coast of America. I don't want it with Castro's Cuba, and I don't want it with Venezuela. Venezuela, again, is an evil election rigging narco state that kills Americans, and people should cheer this. They have fake elections, and they create fake elections in our country. And so, yeah, massive props. We'll see how it plays out. I can confirm that the mausoleum of dictator Hugo Chavez has been bombed. His remains were there. It was left destroyed. So they straight up yeeted the remains of Hugo Chavez, communist dictator, on their way out. They lobbed a heater on their way out, flying out of Venezuela. They just lobbed a heater, probably from the same air platform that Nicolas Maduro was on. They probably made Nicolas Maduro watch. Just amazing. All right. Well, it's called shock and awe. And when President Trump says something like this, you should
offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Today we are witnessing a spiritual awakening in Israel, unlike anything we've ever seen. Hearts are being opened, lives are being transformed, and
there you go. What happens next? Well, apparently the Nobel Prize winner and opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, says we are ready to take the government in Venezuela. There was a vote in Venezuela, and the people voted in order to have a liberty-minded, freedom-minded candidate. Again, Venezuela has been suffering. Venezuela is one of the most prosperous and best countries in all of South America 20, 30 years ago. These communists came in, they stole everything, and they've descended that country into absolute and total chaos. People eating zoo animals, people having no toilet paper, and so on. Just a reminder, Chinese officials arrive in Venezuela for talks with President Maduro. So the Chinese officials were there. These Chi-coms were there to witness the awesome power of the United States of America in the strategic strike. You just freaking love it. Here we go. Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Nicolas Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism, conspiracy, cocaine, importation, conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices in the United States. They will soon face further wrath of the American justice system on American soil in American courts. On behalf of the entire U.S. DOJ, I would like to thank President Trump for having the courage to demand accountability on behalf of the American people, and a huge thank you to our brave military who conducted the incredible, highly successful operation to capture these narco traffickers. We are living in incredible times here, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible times. Nicolas Maduro has been captured. Maduro is going to hate CCOT. Probably the funniest order Trump has given. Trump bombing the mausoleum of Hugo Chavez on the way out. He's still can't get over it. All right. Proud to be an American. God bless you all. Like, share, and subscribe. More.
Okay, that's Trump Danny. We'll go back to JRL, review his video, because he's still on live right now. And I'll do some more videos. Trump speaks, I don't know, about 11. You want me to stay live on this now or go back and speed up? what we said earlier.
You know, the Barack Obama administration, you saw Hillary Clinton, they were all there in that Situation Room, right? They were somewhere at the White House or the Pentagon or something. I don't know where they were at there, but they were definitely in Washington, D.C. area at the time. But Trump's at his house with military generals at his house watching this unfold in real time like a movie. Like, that's crazy. Hey, come on over, General Raising Cane. Come on over. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think it's interesting. Some people in the chat are like, it's not funny. It's not funny. But you get what I mean? I mean, that's wild that a president would have all these generals at his
you guys
house.
want me to go back and look at what he said earlier?
I think Maduro was a bad guy. I support, you know, getting this guy because, one, he's a fugitive. He's wanted. There's already indictments out for him for drugs. And these indictments were out before Trump was in office. Remember, these indictments went down during the Biden administration. Correct? These indictments just didn't pop up. He was already indicted. Now, a lot of you know the federal government, most countries have extradition treaties with the United States. Most, not all, but most, right? But he was already indicted. The United States government has the legal authority to go get someone that is a fugitive from justice. They offered this guy a chance to surrender, maybe even make a deal. Let's make a deal. He didn't. So they went in and got him. They would do the same thing to any fugitive out there that they really wanted. Any murderer or any type of somebody that a violent crime. If someone's wanted out there somewhere in this soil, the police are going to kick down your door and get you.
A few things, you guys. I got some photos.
If you have some sort of pending charges.
While we have time. We'll be going back. Okay, it's all a theater and people still falling for it. Trump versus B. Elon was the system. Left versus right. It's all live or WWE politics, fake feuds, and script chads to keep you distracted. Different faces, same agenda. They control both sides. They always have. The real power is never on the stage. It's behind the scenes, pulling the strings. Stop watching the show. Start questioning who built the stage. We should be the ones knowing everything about the government, not the other way around. We are private citizens. They are public servants. We pay them in the form of instantly high taxes, yet they treat us like potential criminals who need to be monitored 24/7. Why accept that? Yep, Papa Joe. America is $35 trillion in debt because our politicians were stealing money. Maybe we should confiscate everything they own to pay off what they stole. Get there. Come on. Chico. Okay, this is the last one here. America is a country so great and free that even people who hate it refuse to leave. Okay, that was it for the reading. I don't know if we played this one or not, Lucy. Did we?
His grave right now. Oh, wonderful, Mr. 47
Hey,
came out
Maria.
last night and said, taxes?
We did update on
Why
the
should we
capture
be
of the
paying
president
taxes
there.
anymore?
I'm
See,
going
this is
back
for all
to
you bald-headed
Trump
heifers out there.
11.
This is what the government is supposed to be doing. They work for us, not the other way around. We employ them. We are the reasons they have their job. They work for us, not against us, okay? And for the love of all that's holy, before you guys start coming after me and start shaving your eyebrows off and having a complete psychological meltdown, why don't you get on Google? You know, your favorite thing to Google everything? Get on there and start doing your research. Go back to the Titanic. Go back to 1907. Go back to 1885. Like, go do your research before you start coming after me in my freaking comments section, okay? Ooh, I bet JP...
So these three photos here, you guys, what are they talking about? I don't know about this photo. It says the 3 stages of grift, GRIFT.
Very clearly. A government that demands tribute without transparency has forfeited its claim to obedience. We were not born to be revenue streams. We were not forged to be endlessly audited while those in power lose fortunes and call it governance. Taxation without representation was just the spark. Because taxation without accountability will be the explosion. Our founding fathers did not spill their blood, so their descendants could be shaken down by bureaucrats funding fraud they are forbidden to question. They warned us. When a government becomes careless with the people's labor and arrogant in their authority and immune to their consequences, it ceases to be legitimate. You audit the American people for crumbs, while institutions lose fortunes without zero consequences. That's not law, and that sure the hell isn't order. That's straight up plunder with paperwork. If we, the American people, must account for every dollar, then the government must account for every trillion. And let me tell you this now, if you continue to rule without accountability, then do not be feigned surprised when consent evaporates. For history is unkind to governments who forget who the hell they serve.
Okay. I want to go back and review the KRL. Where is he? Darn it. Hang on a second.
The new year, there was this mysterious land strike in Venezuela.
I'm going to go back and
Now,
listen to this for a little
strike, which witnesses
Okay,
in
bye, guys. Check it
Venezuela
out.
say took place in multiple locations, military facilities in Caracas. Witnesses described hearing low-flying aircraft, what sounded like helicopters, hearing very, very loud explosions, and not only in Caracas. So what it appears that we saw over the last few hours was a coordinated, sophisticated military strike, primarily targeting military facilities, very likely carried out by the United States, although we don't have that officially confirmed at this stage. We'll see if that confirmation comes shortly or if it never comes. But the goal, as it has been described to me by mediators directly involved in this process, is to not only to get Nicolas Maduro to cry uncle, but to leave power. A regime change style pressure campaign directed against him, and more specifically directed against his inner circle, because Maduro is in power. He is backed by, according to these mediators, by Cuban intelligence. He is backed by his military inner circle. He is backed by a circle of elite business and military leaders, because there is quite a bit of crossover in the country. So under the guise of a counter-narcotics operation, we're seeing an escalating regime change operation to get rid of Maduro. But so far, it has been unsuccessful. So the big question I have, Peter, this morning as we start this new year, is this one more notch, one more escalation to try and get him to cry uncle? Or are we seeing right now the start of an extended regime change style operation, which could be a very slippery slope? I have heard no indication that the U.S. has any intention of sending troops into the country or boots on the ground, but there are a lot of troops.
I'll go and play Mike's video.
Look, there is a British intelligence operation going on at the highest level to destroy the coalition, which President Trump used to win the election in 2024. I believe that General Flynn is being played along with Alex Jones, along with Steve Bannon, along with others in this operation, where essentially what they're saying is, you haven't put people in prison yet. Why not? Is Pam Bondi a dope? Now the latest thing is to go after Susie Wiles as the patron of all evil. This is stuff which is on the lowest possible level of political organizing. I want to emphasize that again. This is not informed. You notice they're not talking about fusion power. They're not talking about Trump's economic measures, which are moving us to an entirely new platform. They're not really talking about Trump creating peace in the world and settling all the wars he settled. If you just take the war in the Congo, all right, that killed millions and millions of people. Trump got it settled. Is General Flynn talking about that? Or is Steve Bannon talking about that? Or is Alex Jones talking about that? No, we're going to basically go after the people in the White House who are actually making all of this work. So I don't believe that Flynn is the heart of evil. I've never believed that, but I believe he's over his head at this point in terms of the actual situation which is going on. And they're all being played. And they're all being played because they have a lack of perspective on history, and they have a lack of perspective on classical culture, and they have a lack of how to think on your feet, and they don't add up to Donald Trump's vision or his implementation of it. Look, there is a British intelligence operation going on at the...
That was good, Mike. Thanks for sending that. Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on those two. I haven't had time to play them, Mike. Yeah, Trump will be speaking at 11, so we'll stay busy till he speaks. I'll be back tonight. Okay. I got another short clip.
Involved in only a few months in solving 8 wars, but his actions have been decisive to have Venezuela now at a threshold of freedom after 26 years of tyranny that have destroyed the lives of millions of Venezuela, destabilized the region, and undermined the institutions in the United States, because having Venezuela as a safe haven of the enemies of the United States and using our territory and our resources to hurt the American people and American institutions is certainly a threat to the national security of the United States and the security of the hemisphere. But President Trump has been very clear, courageous in terms of dismantling this criminal structure. And on behalf of the Venezuelan people, I reaffirmed our gratitude and our commitment to this cause for the whole America. So I insist he deserves it.
Okay, I'm going to do a lot of short clips till Trump comes on. Yes, I don't know if I ever played this one.
Beginning with immigrant roots and growing into one of the most recognizable names in American business and public life. Early generations focused on real estate and wealth building, laying the foundation for what followed. That legacy expanded significantly with Donald Trump, who became the central figure of the family's public identity through business and media. Over time, the family grew through multiple marriages and a new generation of children, many of whom took on roles in business, media, or public life, while others chose a quieter path. Today, the Trump family represents a mix of legacy, influence, and continuity across generations, with each member shaping the name in different ways.
I've never seen this one. This is good.
The Trump family spans several...
I thought that was a good one. see what. I found a couple of clips here, you guys. A couple I'll share phone on this one. It's only like 2 seconds.
The mainstream media and a lot of the Democrat lawmakers, and especially the Democrat lawmakers in Minnesota, all seem to be acting like Nick Shirley just made shit up. And like he's just trying to stir trouble for the Somali community because they are innocent in all this. Have y'all been noticing that? Does it make you wonder why? Why are they protecting them? Or are they really protecting the Somali community? Or are they protecting themselves? Really makes me question a lot of these people. Who all was getting kickbacks out of this? How much did they get? I think somebody needs to follow the money trail and figure out who was gaining financially from this besides the fraudsters. Because there were a lot more people in on this than the Somali community. That is becoming blatantly obvious. I mean, CBS went to Minneapolis and did a video there. They didn't go to any of the daycare centers. They just stood outside and told you what to think, which that's how mainstream media has been working for years. If you still watch the mainstream media, you need to turn it off and start following independent journalists. That's where the truth is, and that's where the real reporters are. And for those of you who have asked me in my last few videos if I was driving when I was filming the videos, no, I was not. I'm sitting in the same seat I was in the other videos, and take a look. There's the driver's seat. So, no, I don't drive and make videos. But I probably have about 100 Minnesota videos that I have made over many months. So if you're interested in more of the Minnesota fraud, look at some of my older videos. I got a ton of them. And like always, Follow me for all things Minnesota and fraud.
Okay, another update from Minnesota from that lady. Not sure if I played this one. I don't think I have.
This is his message. I would like to say that we are ready, willing, and proud to advise you that we have prepared a wonderful new place in the 5D reality for you all, that you will soon get to experience in this timeline shift. There will be much joy, happiness, love, and laughter as we guide you through the ascension process already ignited here on 3D Earth. There will be much to see in 2026. So much will be visual to you all. The crafts will be seen in the skies more and more. There will be no doubt we are here and that something grand is happening. Do not fear us because we come in light and love. We are benevolent beings here with the Galactic Federation, transforming your world into a paradise for you in the 5th dimension. While in the 3rd dimension, not everyone is aware of the information I share with you or the innate knowledge that you already have, the innate knowing that you already have about this event, the reality of this event, and what to expect. As we give you these messages, there will be much question about what is happening, a lot of flurry about it, a lot of talk about it. Pay attention, use your discernment always, and know that anything that has to do with us, the shift, the crafts in the sky,
I don't think I played this,
are
Lucy, did I?
benevolent. Okay, if any of this information pushed at you creates fear, know that fear is unaligned with this project, with this future reality for all humankind. There is no fear. Fear is control, okay? Just remember that. We are here for you, for your future, for your new reality, for the betterment of humankind. And that is the truth. And that is the reality. So don't accept any explanation that creates fear within you. Fear is unalignment, okay? Fear is you knowing that information is false. Fear creates a false reality, a false sense of truth, okay? If the information doesn't make sense, you know it's not the truth. If it doesn't make sense, I hope that my messages coming through, and for all of us that have come through using Shirley's voice, we're hoping definitely the information resonates with you. We believe that it does, that it brings you hope and light and no fear whatsoever. We are here with you now, assisting for these changes in your upcoming future as we guide you into 2026. We are so ecstatic to be bringing you new messages, new information, the new timeline reality information. Be with us now as we guide you into your grand new future. Love awaits you. Unity awaits you. Maybe we should call this the Heaven on Earth Project, because once you shift into the 5th dimensional frequency, all is aligned. Everything is as it should be. Harmony. Everything will be in harmony.
Thanks, Pop.
All
Yeah, I wasn't sure if
humanity,
I already played
Mother
this
Gaia,
one, so
all of the animals,
glad I
the
did.
plants, everything, all is one, and all will be aligned. We wish you a very happy new year 2026. It's going to be amazing. Stick with us. We thank you for following our messages. We bring you light, love, and hope for your future. Be at peace, dear ones. Know that all is as it should be. I am Enoch, and I shall come again here for you. And that is all. Thank you.
So that's the first one of the new year on that lady. This happened, I think, last night.
Construction site, 3-alarm, evacuations going on, police and fire at the scenes. It is chaotic, folks. Look at this massive blaze right here. I'm going to show you some crazy footage in a news report, and then we will further discuss. Check it out.
Huge fire right in the middle of downtown Denver area. This is a large apartment complex, appears to be under construction. A live picture for you from our copter, and you can see all the water and all the smoke coming from this. We're going to stay with this picture to give you a great bird's eye view of what firefighters are up against right now. Police have shut down Leedsdale Drive, both directions, near Forest Street. So Leedsdale, both directions near Forest Street is where this huge 3-alarm fire is. As, of course, crews work to put out this massive fire. It appears to be an apartment building that is under construction. Denver Fire telling CBS Colorado that this fire is being considered a 3-alarm fire. The call went out and crews rushed to the scene. Details still limited. We do have your reporter crews out there on the ground, and they are waiting to be updated from authorities, of course, to give us more information about what they are up against out there tonight. We know this fire is huge. You can still see all the flames down there. And from the copter, it really gives you a great bird's eye view of what they're up against, how large this fire is. Looks like they're doing a great job containing it to the inside of this apartment building that we've been told is under construction. You can see the fire still out there. They've really been on top of this. Fire crews surround this whole entire unit there, which is why they have shut off so many streets in this area. And they are just dousing it with water. All areas, all corners of this apartment unit are being just throttled with gallons and gallons, thousands of gallons of water as they battle this fire. Your meteorologist, Chief Meteorologist Dave Aguilera, was giving us weather updates earlier, of course, keeping us informed on the wind gusts out there. He says at times some gusts push through, but really the weather is cooperating with this as far as the wind goes. We know we've seen some windy days.
Okay, I'm going to try to get this one more big video here from Pam Bondi. I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, Kay told me just now she has a migraine, so she'll talk to me later. So who wants to be a mod, you guys? Papa 2, you want to be a mod, a backup mod for Kay when she can't make it? Mike, Cam, anybody? So this one here is 15.
I want to raise with you something that's been deeply concerning to me, General Bondi. The 2024 Democrat nominee for vice president actually called federal immigration agents Donald Trump's modern day Gestapo. This is dangerous for our agents. It's wrong, and it cuts against and it undercuts the rule of law. So I want to ask you a series of questions, General Bondi, and if you would accommodate me, I would appreciate it. First, you'll agree when a bill is passed by Congress and signed by the president, it's law, right?
Yes, Senator.
And until that law is changed by Congress, you have a duty to follow it, right? That's what the rule of law is.
Yes, Senator.
So let me read the law.
ever be an enemies list within the Department of Justice.
President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General Pam Bondi vowed not to use the U.S. Justice Department to target people based on their politics if she's confirmed for the position. But she dodged direct questions about investigating people scorned by the president-elect during her testimony on Wednesday before the Senate Judiciary Committee considering her nomination.
I will not politicize that office. I will not target people.
The Senate hearing opened with formal remarks thanking the committee leadership for convening the session and welcoming Attorney General Pam Bondi. The discussion quickly turned to concerns about public rhetoric surrounding federal law enforcement. A senator raised alarm over statements made by a prominent political figure who compared federal immigration agents to authoritarian secret police. Such language, the senator argued, is not only irresponsible, but also dangerous as it undermines public trust and puts federal agents at risk. The exchange then focused on a foundational principle of governance, the rule of law. The senator emphasized that when Congress passes legislation and the president signs it, that statute becomes binding law. Until Congress amends or repeals it, executive officials are obligated to enforce it faithfully. Attorney General Bondi affirmed this principle, agreeing that adherence to enacted law is a core duty of her office.
Hope you had a good
This
holiday.
opening set the tone for
had
broader
breaking news
concerns
with the
about whether the
capture of
Department of
Venezuela
Justice was
for late
acting
Donald Trump
consistently
speech
with its
here
legal
coming up.
obligations. The
I'm gonna
senator's
stop and come
questioning
back
framed
tonight.
the issue as one of institutional
Katie, has
integrity,
migraine
stressing
this
that
morning,
political
so she
views
can't
or
come in
partisan
yet.
pressures should never override statutory duties. The hearing thus established a contrast between public assurances of legality and growing concerns about how justice was being administered in practice. Following the hearing, a series of federal court rulings cast a harsh spotlight on the Justice Department under Attorney General Bondi. Judges described what they viewed as a troubling pattern of misconduct in high-profile prosecutions linked to political rivals of former President Donald Trump. These findings suggested not isolated errors, but systemic failures that raised serious constitutional concerns. Central to these rulings were questions about the legality of prosecutorial appointments and the integrity of grand jury proceedings. Judges openly questioned whether basic procedural safeguards had been followed, including whether grand juries had properly reviewed and approved the final charging documents. Such doubts strike at the heart of criminal procedure, where transparency and adherence to process are essential for legitimacy. Compounding these issues were allegations of mishandled evidence. Courts referenced irregularities so severe that they described them as incompatible with fundamental prosecutorial standards. The language used by the judges was unusually direct, signaling the seriousness of the concerns. Together, these rulings painted a picture of a Justice Department struggling to meet basic legal expectations. Rather than advancing credible prosecutions, the department appeared to be exposing itself to judicial censure and public skepticism, eroding confidence in its leadership and decision-making. One of the most consequential developments was the complete collapse of federal cases against James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. These cases were not merely dismissed on technical grounds. Instead, judges dismantled the legal foundation on which they were built. The rulings suggested that the prosecutions were fatally flawed from their inception. Senior Judge Cameron McGowan Curry found that the interim U.S. attorney who authorized the indictments had been unlawfully appointed. Because the appointment did not comply with statutory requirements, the judge ruled that the prosecutor lacked the legal authority to act. As a result, every action taken under that authority, including signing indictments, was deemed invalid. This determination had sweeping consequences. It meant that the indictments themselves were void, regardless of their substantive claims. The court emphasized that executive power must be exercised strictly within the bounds set by law, particularly when criminal charges are involved. The ruling underscored a fundamental principle: prosecutions cannot proceed unless every step from appointment to indictment complies with legal standards. In this case, the failure to do so rendered the entire effort unlawful, marking a decisive defeat for the Justice Department. During her confirmation testimony, Attorney General Bondi publicly pledged not to politicize the Department of Justice. She stated unequivocally that she would not target individuals based on political affiliation and that there would be no enemies list within the department. These assurances were meant to signal independence and adherence to long-standing norms of prosecutorial neutrality. However, the contrast between those promises and subsequent judicial findings proved stark. Courts examining the Comey and James cases concluded that the prosecutions bore hallmarks of political motivation rather than impartial law enforcement. Judges did not merely question prosecutorial judgment, they criticized the legality and structure of the cases themselves. This disconnect raised serious credibility issues. While Bondi's testimony emphasized fairness and restraint, the courts described actions that appeared inconsistent with those commitments. The gap between rhetoric and reality fueled accusations that the Justice Department had been weaponized for partisan purposes. Such contradictions are particularly damaging for an attorney general whose authority depends heavily on trust. When judicial findings undermine sworn assurances, it invites heightened scrutiny from Congress, the legal community, and the public at large. Another major blow came from Magistrate Judge William Fitzpatrick, who examined the grand jury proceedings in the Comey case. His findings revealed what he called profound investigative missteps, including fundamental misstatements of law presented to grand jurors. This raised the possibility that charges were approved under incorrect legal standards. Grand juries serve as a critical safeguard against prosecutorial overreach. They rely on prosecutors to present the law accurately and to respect evidentiary boundaries. According to the court, those expectations were not met. The judge also noted that potentially privileged materials may have been improperly introduced, further compromising the process. Even more troubling was the uncertainty over whether the grand jury ever reviewed the final version of the indictment. If true, this would mean charges were filed without proper authorization, a serious violation of criminal procedure. These findings suggested not mere negligence, but systemic dysfunction. By misleading grand jurors and mishandling sensitive material, prosecutors undermined the very mechanism designed to protect individuals from unjust prosecutions. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of the unfolding situation involved allegations related to evidence preservation. After a judge issued an explicit order requiring that all relevant evidence be preserved, courthouse security footage reportedly showed Attorney General Bondi leaving the building with boxes of documents. The timing of this footage proved critical. Investigators later reported that certain case files could not be located, and the timestamps on the video allegedly aligned with the period when those files went missing. This sequence of events raised serious concerns about compliance with the court's preservation order. In ordinary circumstances, removing evidence after such an order could constitute obstruction of justice. The fact that these allegations involved the Attorney General heightened their gravity. As the nation's top law enforcement official, Bondi is expected to model strict adherence to legal and ethical standards. The footage transformed procedural concerns into a potential scandal. It prompted legal commentators to question whether laws designed to prevent evidence tampering were themselves violated by the official charged with enforcing them. The cumulative effect of these rulings has been a significant blow to the credibility of the Justice Department. Judges labeled the prosecutions illegal, retaliatory, and fundamentally flawed, language that resonates far beyond the dismissed cases themselves. Such findings
Under five.
cast doubt on the department's ability to conduct fair and
Then we'll
lawful
go wait
investigations.
for Trump.
For defense attorneys nationwide, these developments provide powerful arguments. Any future prosecution alleging obstruction or evidence tampering may now face comparisons to the conduct attributed to department leadership. This weakens the government's moral and legal authority in court. Institutional trust is difficult to rebuild once eroded. When courts openly question prosecutorial integrity, every filing, motion, and statement from the department is viewed through a lens of skepticism. The damage is not confined to past cases, it affects ongoing and future litigation as well. Ultimately, the Justice Department's effectiveness depends on confidence that it operates above partisan influence. These judicial rebukes have placed that confidence in serious jeopardy. Beyond dismissed cases, Attorney General Bondi now faces potential professional consequences. Legal analysts have suggested that bar complaints may be filed, and the possibility of criminal investigations has been raised if evidence supports allegations of obstruction or tampering. Such outcomes would be extraordinary but not unprecedented. Attorneys, regardless of rank, are subject to ethical rules governing evidence handling and candor to the courts. Violations can result in sanctions, suspension, or disbarment. These risks are particularly significant given Bondi's involvement in other sensitive matters, including oversight of the Epstein files, SNAP benefits litigation, and immigration enforcement. Questions about her credibility inevitably spill over into these areas, complicating the department's ability to defend its positions. The situation underscores a broader lesson. Leadership conduct sets the tone for an entire institution. When that conduct is called into question, the repercussions extend well beyond individual cases. The failed prosecutions were widely viewed as part of a broader strategy to pursue political adversaries. Targets such as Comey and James were long-standing critics of Trump, and their indictments were seen by supporters as vindication. However, the court's response dramatically reversed that narrative. Rather than validating the prosecutions, judges exposed deep legal flaws and unlawful exercises of executive power. This judicial resistance demonstrated that despite political pressure, courts remain a check on abuse of authority. For those targeted, the rulings amounted to more than legal victories. They reinforced claims that the prosecutions were politically motivated rather than grounded in legitimate law enforcement objectives.
Under a minute,
The outcome sent a clear signal. Attempts to weaponize federal law enforcement carry substantial legal risk and can backfire, leaving those who initiate them exposed to scrutiny and accountability. Taken together, these events mark a pivotal moment for the Justice Department and its leadership. What was intended as a forceful assertion of authority has instead become a cautionary tale about overreach, procedural failure, and the enduring power of judicial oversight. The rulings establish a detailed public record that will follow Attorney General Bondi throughout her career. Historians, legal scholars, and future courts will reference these findings as examples of how not to conduct prosecutions. More broadly, the situation reaffirms a core democratic principle. No official, regardless of position, is above the law. Courts have shown they are willing to intervene when legal norms are violated, even at the highest levels. As investigations and...
That was in. Yeah, there's another. He sees people outside in the back. I don't know what I don't know, be another dog out there, but yeah, I don't have much. It's a small place here. Okay, he just.
Nicolas Maduro happened in the small hours of the evening last night. An assault on Caracas in Venezuela. President Trump will be live here momentarily. And of course, we will take this comment, something that was kept very, very close to the chest. Zero media leaks, zero leaks about this. An absolute stellar tactical execution by our men in uniform, special forces, Delta forces, seizing the communist dictator, leveling the Venezuelan military, leveling the Venezuelan Air Force, knocking out all air defenses. As far as we know, according to reports, there weren't even any shots fired on American troops. And President Trump predicting exactly what was going to happen here by noting that you probably shouldn't F around with the United States of America.
Country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
President Trump speaking at the White House just a few days ago, and J.D. Vance obviously grinning from ear to ear. Marco Rubio, the same. Pete Hegseth, the same. Nicolas Maduro's response to that.
Don't worry. Be happy. La, 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 la. Don't worry.
No.
Be happy.
Nah.
La, 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 la.
These dirty communists. So Nicolas Maduro is a bad person, and I want to state this because the president could break in at any moment. I'm against war. I think that this is what you do to prevent war, to be quite honest with you. Here's why I am in favor of this military action against this communist dictator. 2 or 3 or 4 or 9 things. Let's just go from off the top. And Nicolas Maduro is an illegitimate dictator. He obviously lost multiple elections. In fact, the original elections that swapped communists into power, and one of the more profitable and successful, clean, functional, middle class, rich with natural resources countries on earth, Venezuela, which was a deeply functional democracy and society up until the communists took over. Ladies and gentlemen, these have all been illegitimate dictatorships led by Hugo Chavez. When they don't like the results, they change the results. They do this with election rigging technology. These election rigging technologies were piloted by Venezuela. They are now used to rig elections all throughout the world, including but not limited to our country and Brazil, which also has an illegal dictator in it. Venezuela is very close to America. Venezuela's destabilization of its hundreds of millions of people that live there caused a massive human crisis. And this is the kind of crisis that, of course, leads to millions of displaced individuals flooding our country. Many of those individuals are members of gangs. These are terrorist organizations, Tren de Aragua, MS-13. Hugo Chavez sent them all to America to rape and pillage and kill. And this is exactly what happened with Laken Riley, a Venezuelan migrant came here and killed Laken Riley. You'll remember Laken Riley bludgeoned in the head. She was a nursing student from Georgia, bludgeoned in the head and killed by a Venezuelan because of Hugo Chavez. So not a good guy, not a good person. He also, of course, narco traffics. He's a terrorist. He narco traffics into our country. Hundreds of millions of pounds of fentanyl that kills and slaughters our people. Is he responsible for the death of millions of Americans? Probably, actually. And so not only is he responsible for the worst thing that's happened to America in my lifetime, which is the migrant crisis, he's also responsible for, obviously, the fentanyl deaths, the insane amount of narcotics that are in our country, poisoning the blood of our people. And then he's also responsible for the total and complete destabilization of South America on behalf of the communists. And so, yes, I'm happy that Nicolas Maduro is in a bag over his head as he's being flown atop Caracas and shown something that I think is completely and totally glorious, which is the destruction of the mausoleum of Hugo Chavez. This is a very specific mountaintop that was destroyed. And this mountaintop holds the remains of the communist dictator, Hugo Chavez. This is the man who, when he died, Nicolas Maduro just seized power, just took power, and then has been using his nation, which is a nation very close to the United States of America, a nation that would have zero wealth or infrastructure if the United States of America hadn't built it up. American oil companies spent trillions of dollars refining and creating Venezuela's oil economy. Venezuela has a larger oil reserve than Saudi Arabia. This is the largest known proven oil reserve in the world, is in Venezuela. The communists took over, seized it, and then ran that industry into the ground through total and complete incompetence. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how they destroyed their nation and obviously destroyed their own people. And so that is why the people are celebrating right now. I just want to note that before we get to the celebrations, that on their way out, the American forces not only took Hugo Chavez, but also took his wife. The absolute and total disrespect and rudeness of that is hilarious. And then they hung his head out of the helicopter window and forced him to watch them lob a couple of heaters into the mausoleum. They destroyed the body of Hugo Chavez on their way out, which is just it's just a thing of beauty. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the breaking news from around the world. And we have live reaction pouring in from people in Venezuela. So let me make this very clear. And again, we're going to be hearing from President Trump here in just a moment as Donald Trump gets ready to address the world as the world sits in shock witnessing this. Boys, why don't you grab the Claudia? I want the Claudia Scheinbaum commentary from Trump this morning, and then her tweet about this, because of course everybody, all the libs are freaking out about this, saying that they support Venezuela. But if you support Venezuela, you're going to support the Venezuelan people who love that this just happened. You know, you're not the ones eating zoo animals. What it really is it's low IQ communists realizing that they're losing their communist dictatorships all over the world, including but not limited to multiple South American countries. South America is now swinging wildly, I guess you could say, to the right, but really it's just for freedom and liberty parties. One of the last men standing is Brazil. You know, there's some like totally irrelevant South American countries, but Brazil. And the reason why this is critically important is because the communists and Iran, these are the people who are aligned with Venezuela, Iran, the Chinese communists, and Russia, Vladimir Putin, they hate this. They are using Venezuela as a proxy to attack us, to poison our people, to flood our borders, to engage in trafficking, human, narco, and otherwise. These evil forces were using Venezuela as a staging ground to attack America. This is exactly what they did. And now they're losing grip. They took over South America, and now the communists are losing control, as you can see right here. This is the after years of socialism, South America is now has a right-wing wave. So the blue is socialist and communist countries. This is what it looked like 20 years ago. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what it looks like now. Actually, this wouldn't actually be a accurate map. I'm gonna have to let's try and get a slightly more accurate map, because obviously Chile went to the right as well. Okay, so this is what Venezuela looks like as people are cheering and celebrating in the streets. This is a good thing for our country. In fact, Chinese communists were there on site. In fact, Chinese communists had just landed in Venezuela in order to prop up Maduro. So the Chi-Coms had their little government apparatchiks sitting there watching as the guy they were supposed to meet with gets put into a bag and thrown in the back of a Chinook. Isn't that dominance, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so we've got celebrations throughout Venezuela. Again, don't listen to any of the dirty libs out there screaming and shrieking. Everybody's trying to everyone's throwing a panic right now. They're only panicking because they're losing their party, which is not the Democrat Party. It is global Marxism, is losing power. And this was one of their major plays. to poison the American people and to destroy our land and our nation. Here you can see the Ayatollah getting his portrait lit on fire. Obviously, the people of Venezuela celebrating in the streets, dancing. This is a precious video. It's just a dude waking up his family in the middle of the night. He's so excited. He goes and wakes up his wife and tells her that the dictator is gone. So yeah, if you say you stand with Venezuela, then clearly you're standing with the Venezuelan people. People that are upset, libs that are bitching about Maduro
away.
are sitting there defending the indefensible, defending an illegitimate dictator, communist who is destroyed and stolen from his people, and who is effectively a narco trafficker and terrorist. That's what they're defending. So yeah. Look at this. Venezuelans celebrating everywhere. This woman, I don't speak Spanish, but this elderly woman going viral for crying real tears.
Go ahead and take a war with Chico. Come
All right. So yeah, they're burning and ripping down Maduro posters here in Venezuela. And President Trump now warning Claudia Sheinbaum, who is the president of Mexico, for running also a narco trafficking state, which she is doing. What's your message to Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum? She's not running Mexico. The cartels are running Mexico. Something's going to have to be done with Mexico.
It's kind of cold to be outside.
Way to go. I'm here for it. I want more communists in helicopters, to be perfectly honest with you, being taken in the dark of night and being brought to justice. I think it's just, I think this is just like the America that we've lost. This dude was live streaming the moment. This was live streaming the moment that the attack.
I think it's taking too long. All right, guys. I'll be back at 5 o'clock. I don't know why it's taking so long for him to come out. So, my big breaking news this morning. So, I'm going to probably play a lot of short videos tonight. Come up with a lot of short ones. So, okay, get better. And God bless everybody. Love all. But please like and stay safe and strong. Keep the faith. Never give up. Signing off for a few hours till 4:35. Chico Dude. See you guys soon.